The message came without warning on a Tuesday morning in March 2347. Every screen on Earth displayed the same image at the same moment. A creature with gray skin and 6 eyes stared into billions of homes, offices, and streets. Its voice was cold and flat, translated into every human language simultaneously. Species designation: human. You have been observed. You have achieved faster than light travel. You have established colonies beyond your birth world. The Galactic Council acknowledges your existence. You will send representatives to Apex Prime within 30 rotations. Failure to comply will result in consequences. The screen went black. The world went silent. Then the chaos began. Admiral Park Do-hyun was eating breakfast with his wife when the message appeared. He set down his chopsticks and watched the alien speak. His wife grabbed his arm. He did not move. He had commanded ships for 30 years. He had seen wars and disasters. But nothing had prepared him for this. His communicator buzzed before the message ended. Orders from Geneva. Report immediately. Park arrived at the Global Defense Command 6 hours later. The building was surrounded by soldiers and reporters. Inside, he found the war room filled with admirals, generals, and politicians all talking at once. President Choi Eun-ji stood at the center table, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. "Admiral Park," she said. "Good. We need you." The room quieted. Park took his place at the table. "We have confirmed the message is real," President Choi said. "Our deep space stations detected a ship at the edge of the solar system. It transmitted the message and then vanished. We do not know where it went. What do we know about this Galactic Council?" General Kang Tae-hyuk asked. He was a large man, with a scarred face, head of Earth's defense forces. "Almost nothing," said Dr. Baek Ji-yun, the chief science advisor. She was a small woman with glasses and tired eyes. "We have detected signals from other civilizations for decades. We assumed they were too far away to matter. We were wrong. They knew exactly when we developed FTL drives," Park said quietly. "They were watching us." The room went silent again. President Choi spoke. "We need to send someone to this Apex Prime. We need to know what we are dealing with. It could be a trap," General Kang said. "They could destroy whoever we send." "If they wanted to destroy us, they would not ask for a meeting," Park replied. "They want something else." President Choi nodded. "I agree. Admiral Park, I want you to lead our delegation. Take our best diplomat with you. Find out what these aliens want. Find out if they are a threat." Park accepted the mission. He had no choice. Humanity needed answers. Ambassador Yoon Soo-jin was chosen to speak for Earth. She was 42 years old, a veteran of dozens of international negotiations. She had ended wars and built treaties. But she had never spoken to an alien before. She met Admiral Park on the flagship Hansan, the largest ship in Earth's small fleet. The crew was nervous. Everyone was nervous. They were about to travel farther than any human had gone before. "Do you think they will listen to us?" Yoon asked Park as they watched Earth grow smaller through the viewport. "I do not know," Park said honestly. "But we will make them hear us." The journey to Apex Prime took 12 days. The coordinates had been included in the alien message. When the Hansan arrived, the crew fell silent. Apex Prime was not a planet. It was a station, but calling it a station was like calling an ocean a puddle. The structure was the size of a moon, covered in lights and towers and docking ports. Thousands of ships moved around it like insects around a hive. Some were small. Some were larger than cities. "My God," someone whispered. Park stared at the station. Earth's entire fleet could fit inside one of those docking ports. They had traveled to the stars thinking they were explorers. Now he understood the truth. They were children who had wandered into a world of giants. A voice came through the communication system, the same flat tone from the message. "Human vessel. Proceed to docking port 947. Your representatives will be escorted to the council chamber. Do not deviate. Do not resist. The Hansan docked. Park and Yoon walked down the ramp with 12 soldiers as escort. They were met by creatures of a dozen different species. Some walked on 2 legs, some on 4, some on none. Some had scales, some had fur, some had skin like metal. All of them stared at the humans, with expressions Park could not read. A tall being with silver skin and no mouth gestured for them to follow. They walked through corridors of glass and light. They passed windows that showed gardens, cities, and machines beyond anything human engineers had imagined. Park kept his face still. He would not show fear. The council chamber was a vast dome filled with floating platforms. Each platform held representatives of a different species. 12 platforms were larger than the others, arranged in a circle at the center. These were the council members, the rulers of the galaxy. Park and Yoon were led to a small platform at the bottom of the dome. They looked up at the council like ants looking up at gods. One of the council members spoke. He was the gray-skinned creature from the message. I am Counselor Vethal. I speak for the Galactic Council. You are humans. You are new. We are, Ambassador Yoon replied. Her voice was steady. We are honored to meet the council. Honor is earned, Vethal said. You have achieved faster than light travel. This is notable. Many species destroy themselves before reaching this point. You have survived. This is also notable. Thank you, Yoon said carefully. Do not thank us yet. Vethal's 6 eyes focused on her. The galaxy is not empty. It is full. It is ordered. The Council maintains this order. We have done so for 10,000 years. When a new species emerges, it must find its place in this order. And what place do you have in mind for us? Yoon asked. All new species must pay tribute, Vethal said. Resources, technology, or service. In exchange, you receive protection and trading rights. You receive access to the galaxy. This is the law. Park felt his hands tighten. Tribute. They wanted humanity to kneel. What kind of tribute? Yoon asked. 30% of your rare mineral output each cycle. Access to your military technology for evaluation. Acceptance of council advisors on your colony worlds to ensure compliance. The chamber was silent. Every alien eye watched the humans. Park looked at Yoon. She looked back at him. They both understood what this meant. The council did not want partners. They wanted subjects. This is a significant request, Yoon said slowly. We must consult with our government before we can give an answer. Vethal tilted his head. You have 1 cycle, 30 of your days. Then you will return with your answer. The council does not wait. The council does not ask twice. He raised a hand. The audience was over. As they walked back to their ship, Park noticed something. On one of the smaller platforms, a being with blue skin and kind eyes was watching them. It was not looking at them with contempt or curiosity. It was looking at them with something like hope. Park filed this away in his mind. Perhaps not everyone in this galaxy was happy with the council's order. Perhaps there were cracks in their perfect system. He would find out. The Hansen left Apex Prime and began the journey home. Park stood at the viewport and watched the station shrink behind them. They expect us to kneel, Yoon said quietly beside him. Yes, Park said. What do you think Earth will decide? Park was quiet for a long moment. He thought about his wife, his children, his grandchildren. He thought about every human who had ever lived and died on that small blue planet. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and wars. They had climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. I think, he said slowly, that we have never been very good at kneeling. Yoon smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. The journey home began. The Hansen arrived on Earth 14 days after it had left. Admiral Park and Ambassador Yoon were taken directly to Geneva. The Global Assembly Hall was full. Every leader of every nation was present. Billions more watched through screens around the world. President Choi Eun-ji stood at the central podium. Her face was calm, but Park could see the tension in her shoulders. The weight of human civilization rested on the decisions made in this room. "Admiral Park, Ambassador Yoon," she said. "The world is waiting. Tell us what you found." Yoon stepped forward. She told them everything. She described Apex Prime, the Council Chamber, and the 12 ruling species. She described ships the size of mountains and technology beyond human understanding. She described the power that had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Then she told them about the tribute. The hall erupted. Voices shouted from every corner. Some called for war. Some called for surrender. Some called for more time. President Choi raised her hand, and the room slowly quieted. 30% of our rare minerals, she said. Council advisors on our worlds. Evaluation of our military technology. She looked at Yoon. What happens if we refuse? Counselor Vethal did not say directly, Yoon replied. But he made the threat clear. They have destroyed species before. Species that did not comply with their order. General Kang Tae-hyuk stood. His scarred face was hard with anger. Then we fight. We do not bow to alien masters. With what? Dr. Baek Ji-yeon asked. She stood on the other side of the hall, her voice sharp. General, I respect your courage, but you did not see what I saw in the reports. Their smallest patrol ships are more powerful than our entire fleet. If we fight them directly, we die. All of us. Every man, woman, and child on Earth, and every colony. Gone. So we surrender? Kang demanded. We become slaves? I am not saying that, Baek replied. I am saying we must be smart. We must find another way. The argument continued for hours. Park sat and listened. He watched the leaders of Earth debate the future of their species. Some were wise. Some were foolish. All of them were afraid, even if they would not admit it. Finally, President Choi called for silence. We will take a vote, she said. All those in favor of accepting the council's terms? Hands rose around the room. Park counted them. It was close to half. All those in favor of refusing? More hands rose. Also, close to half. The assembly was split down the middle. President Choi closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her face was decided. The vote is too close to decide the matter, she said. As President of the United Earth Government, the final decision falls to me. She paused. I will hear more arguments before I decide. We have time. We will use it. The assembly broke into smaller meetings. Park found himself in a secure room with President Choi, General Kang, Dr. Baek, and Ambassador Yoon. These were the people who would shape Earth's answer. I need options, President Choi said. Not just fight or surrender. There must be something else. There might be, said a voice from the corner. Everyone turned. A young man stood by the door. He wore the uniform of a lieutenant in the intelligence corps. His name tag read, Shin Min-ho. Who are you? General Kang demanded. This is a classified meeting. General Kang demanded. Lieutenant Shin is one of my analysts, Park said. He had noticed the young man's work before. Sharp mind. Good instincts. Speak, Lieutenant. Shin stepped forward nervously, but his voice was clear. I have been studying the data from Apex Prime. Everything we recorded about the station, the ships, the species we encountered. I found something. He placed a tablet on the table. It showed images and charts that Park did not fully understand. The Galactic Council has 12 member species, Shin said. But only 3 of them hold real power. They are called the First Races. The other 9 are junior members. They have votes, but their votes rarely matter, so the Council is not united. Yoon said slowly. No, Ambassador, it is not. Shin brought up another image. And there are hundreds of other species in the galaxy. Species that are not on the council. Species that pay tribute like we are being asked to pay. I analyzed communication patterns. I found signs of resentment, anger. Some of these species have been under council rule for thousands of years. They do not like it. You think they might help us? President Choi asked. I think they might be waiting for someone to stand up first, Shin said. The council's power depends on fear, on the belief that resistance is impossible. If someone showed that resistance is possible, he did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Park thought about the blue-skinned alien on the small platform, the one who had looked at them with hope. Perhaps he had been right. Perhaps there were cracks in the council's perfect order. General Kang shook his head. This is a fantasy. We cannot base our survival on the hope that alien slaves will rise up to help us. Maybe not, President Choi said. But it tells us something important. The council is not all-powerful. They have weaknesses. We can use that. She stood and walked to the window. Outside, the city of Geneva spread below, full of lights and life. 8 billion people on this planet alone. Millions more on the colonies, all of them waiting to hear their fate. I have made my decision, she said. We will not accept the tribute. General Kang smiled grimly. Dr. Baek looked worried. Yoon nodded slowly. But we will not simply refuse and wait for them to destroy us, President Choi continued. We will refuse in a way that gives us a chance. Ambassador Yoon, I want you to deliver our answer personally. You will tell them we reject their terms, but you will also offer an alternative. Trade agreements between equals. Mutual defense. And for cooperation, not domination. They will not accept, Yoon said. No, they will not. But the galaxy will hear us make the offer. They will see that we wanted peace. And when the council attacks us anyway, the other species will know who the aggressor is. She turned to Park. Admiral, begin preparing our defenses. We cannot win a direct war, but we can make ourselves too expensive to conquer easily. Buy us time. Find allies. Do whatever you must. Yes, Madam President, Park said. Dr. Baek. Focus all research on understanding their technology. Find weaknesses. Find ways to adapt. Yes, Madam President. Lieutenant Shin. You are promoted to my advisory staff. Continue your analysis. Find those cracks in the council's armor and figure out how to widen them. Shin looked shocked. Yes, Madam President. President Choi looked at each of them in turn. I will not pretend this will be easy. The council has ruled for 10,000 years. They have crushed countless species. They believe they are gods, and we are insects. Her voice hardened. They are wrong. Humanity has faced extinction before. Ice covered our world. Plagues killed half our people. We built weapons that could destroy ourselves and somehow chose not to use them. We are still here. We will still be here when this is over. She walked to the door. Prepare, Ambassador Yoon's response. Make it clear. Make it strong. Make it something the galaxy will remember. She left. The others looked at each other. Well, General Kang said. I guess we are doing this. We are, Yoon replied. She looked at Park. I will need your help crafting the response. It must be firm, but not insulting. Defiant, but not foolish. Park nodded. We will work on it together. Over the next 2 weeks, they prepared. The military began reinforcing colony defenses. Scientists worked day and night studying alien technology. Intelligence officers reached out through secret channels, looking for potential allies among the subjugated species. And Ambassador Yoon wrote her speech. She wrote it and rewrote it 100 times. She practiced it in front of mirrors, in front of advisors, in front of President Choi herself. Every word was chosen with care. Every pause was measured. When the day came, she was ready. Admiral Park walked with her to the shuttle that would take them back to the Hansan. The ship had been resupplied and repaired. The crew was tense, but determined. "Are you nervous?" Park asked her. Yoon smiled slightly. "I am about to tell the rulers of the galaxy that humanity will not kneel to them. Of course I am nervous." "Good," Park said. "Nervous people think carefully. We need careful thinking now." They boarded the ship. The engines powered up. Earth fell away below them. "Admiral," Yoon said as they entered FTL, "what do you think will happen after I give the speech?" Park considered the question. "I think the galaxy will change. I do not know if it will change for better or worse, but it will change. Because of us? Because of what we represent. The idea that the Council can be defied, that their order can be questioned." He looked at her. "Ideas are dangerous things, Ambassador. More dangerous than any weapon." Yoon nodded slowly. She understood. The Hansan flew on through the stars. Ahead of them waited the Council. And the moment that would shake the galaxy. Apex Prime was even more crowded than before. As the Hansan approached the massive station, Admiral Park counted ships from dozens of different species. Word had spread. The galaxy wanted to see what the humans would say. "They are expecting a show," Ambassador Yoon said quietly, watching the ships through the viewport. "Then we will give them one," Park replied. They docked at the same port as before. The same silver-skinned guide met them and led them through the same corridors. But this time, the aliens they passed did not just stare. They whispered to each other. They pointed. News traveled fast in the galaxy, and everyone knew that the small pink creatures from the edge of known space had been given an ultimatum. The council chamber was packed. Every platform was full. Species that normally never attended council sessions had come to watch. The 12 council members sat on their high platforms, looking down like judges at a trial. Councillor Vethal spoke first. "Humans, you have returned. The council is pleased." His 6 eyes fixed on Yoon. "You have our terms. Do you accept them?" Ambassador Yoon stood straight. She was a small woman on a small platform at the bottom of a chamber full of giants. But her voice carried to every corner of the dome. "Councillor Vethal, members of the Galactic Council, observers and representatives of all species present, I am Ambassador Yoon Sujin. I speak for Earth and all human colonies. I speak for 8 billion people on our home world and 2 million more among the stars." She paused. The chamber was silent. 30 days ago, you gave us your terms. You demanded tribute, 30% of our rare minerals, access to our military technology, council advisors on our worlds to watch us and control us. You called this protection. You called this access to the galaxy. Vethal's eyes narrowed slightly. "These are the standard terms for all new species. You are not special. You will comply like the others." "No," Yoon said. "We will not." The chamber erupted. Shouts and cries in 100 languages filled the dome. On the platforms around her, aliens turned to each other in shock. No one refused the council. No one. Vethal raised a hand and the noise died down. His voice was cold. "You are unwise, human. Do you understand what you are saying? Do you understand the consequences?" "I understand," Yoon replied calmly. "You will threaten us. You will send your fleets. You believe that we will break and beg for mercy. Many species have broken before us. You expect us to be the same. And we, you will be the same. You are small. You are young." "Perhaps," Yoon said. "But we do not measure our worth by our power. We measure it by our principles. And our principles do not allow us to kneel." She took a step forward on her platform, and her voice rose. "Humanity did not crawl out of caves and cross oceans and reach for the stars so that we could bow to the first bully we met. We did not survive ice ages and plagues and wars that nearly destroyed us, so that we could hand our freedom to strangers who demand it without earning it. Admiral Park stood behind her. His face was stone, but inside he felt a fire building. These were the words humanity needed to say. These were the words the galaxy needed to hear. You say you offer protection, Yoon continued. Protection from what? From you? That is not protection. That is extortion. You say you offer access to the galaxy, but you control that access. You decide who trades and who starves. That is not opportunity. That is slavery, with extra steps. Vethal's gray skin darkened with anger. You will regret these words, human. Maybe, Yoon said. But I will not regret saying them. Because they are true. She turned slowly, looking at the hundreds of platforms around her, looking at the species who had come to watch. We know we are not the first to stand here. We know others have refused before us. We know what happened to them. The Council destroyed them, burned their worlds, erased their names from history. She paused. But you could not erase the idea of them. The idea that the Council can be defied. The idea that freedom is worth dying for. That idea is still here. We carry it. And we are not alone. 2. Movement on one of the lower platforms caught Park's attention. It was the blue-skinned alien he had noticed before, the one who had looked at them with hope. The alien was leaning forward, eyes wide, drinking in every word. So here is our answer, Yoon said. We will not pay your tribute. We will not accept your advisors. We will not open our technology to your evaluation. She straightened to her full height. But we are not your enemies. We do not want war. We want something you have never offered before. We want partnership. Vethal laughed. It was an ugly sound. Partnership? With you? You have nothing to offer us. We offer fair trade, Yoon said. Equal exchange of goods and knowledge. We offer mutual defense against common threats. We offer friendship and respect between species who treat each other as equals. She met his 6 eyes without flinching. We offer a new way of doing things. A better way. There is no better way than the Council's way, Vethal said. There is only our way, or destruction. Then you have already lost. Yoon replied quietly. Because any order that can only survive through fear is already dying. You just do not know it yet. The chamber went completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Vethal stood slowly from his seat. When he spoke, his voice was ice. You have made your choice, humans. You have chosen death. The Council will send a compliance fleet to your territory. You will surrender unconditionally, or you will be erased like every other species that defied us. You have one of your months to reconsider. After that, there will be no more mercy. He raised his hand to dismiss them. Wait. The voice came from one of the lower platforms. Everyone turned. The blue-skinned alien had stood up. Park recognized him now, from Shin's intelligence files. His name was Rin, an observer from a species called the Keth. They had been under council rule for 3,000 years. You do not have permission to speak, Vethal said dangerously. I am speaking anyway. His voice was calm but firm. The humans came here in peace. They offered alternatives. They offered partnership. The council refused to even consider it. I want that noted in the record. It does not matter what you want noted. You are an observer. You have no vote. No, Rin agreed. I do not. But I have a voice, and I am using it to say that the humans are right. The council has ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Maybe it is time for something else. Vethal's eyes blazed. You will be silent, or your species will face consequences. Rin sat down slowly. But the damage was done. He had spoken. Others had heard. On platforms across the chamber, aliens were whispering to each other. Some looked afraid. Some looked thoughtful. Some looked like they were waking up from a long sleep. Veth-Al turned back to the humans. Leave. Now. The next time we meet, it will be over the burning ruins of your worlds. Admiral Park stepped forward. He had been silent the entire session, letting Ambassador Yoon speak. But now, he felt the need to add his voice. Counselor, he said. I have been a soldier for 30 years. I have learned a few things about war. One of them is this. It is easy to start a war. It is hard to finish one. You think you will destroy us quickly. You are wrong. We will fight you on every planet, in every system, in every shadow between the stars. We will make you pay for every inch in blood. And while you are busy fighting us, others will be watching. He met Veth-Al's glare without blinking. You call us small. You call us young. But small things grow. And young things have energy that old things have forgotten. You might destroy us, but you will never forget us. And neither will the rest of the galaxy. He turned and walked toward the exit. Yoon followed. Behind them, the chamber hummed with 1,000 conversations. As they passed Rin's platform, the Keth observer caught Park's eye. He nodded slightly. A small gesture, but it meant everything. You are not alone. They returned to the Hanson and left Apex Prime. The crew was waiting for a report. How did it go? The captain asked. We told them no, Park said simply. Now we prepare for what comes next. The ship jumped to FTL. Earth was waiting, but before they left the system, a message came through on an encrypted channel. It was short. Admiral Park, Ambassador Yoon. You spoke well today. Others heard. Others agree. When the time comes, you will not fight alone. Look for friends in unexpected places. Signed, Observer Rin. Yoon read the message twice. Do you think he means it? I think, Park said slowly, that we just started something bigger than ourselves. He looked out at the stars streaming past. Somewhere out there, the Council was preparing its fleets. And somewhere else, other species were beginning to hope. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 months passed. On Earth and every colony world, humanity prepared for war. Admiral Park worked without rest. He inspected defenses, trained crews, and studied every piece of intelligence about Council military tactics. Lieutenant Shin, now working directly for President Choi, fed him constant updates on Council fleet movements. The news was not good. The Council was sending a compliance fleet to the human colony of New Busan. It was not their largest fleet, but it was large enough. 40 warships, each one carrying more firepower than Earth's entire navy combined. They would arrive in 1 week. Park gathered his commanders in the war room of the Resolve, his flagship. Captain Han Yuna was among them. She was 31 years old, commander of the destroyer Taebek, known for her bold tactics and sharp mind. Park had marked her as one to watch. We cannot win this battle through direct combat, Park told them. Their ships are bigger, stronger, and more numerous. If we fight them head-on, we lose. So we will not fight them head-on. He brought up a holographic map of the New Busan system. We will use what we have. Speed, flexibility, willingness to take risks they will not expect. We will hit them from angles they are not prepared for. We will make them pay for every move they make. Guerrilla tactics, Captain Han said. In space. Exactly. Park nodded at her. The Council has fought hundreds of wars against hundreds of species. But those species all fought the same way. They tried to match Council power with power. They failed. We will be different. General Kang Tae-yuk appeared on the screen from Earth. Can we actually win this? Park was quiet for a moment. I do not know. But we can hurt them. We can delay them. We can show them, and the rest of the galaxy, that humanity is not an easy target. And we can buy time for the other plans to work. He did not say what those plans were. Not everyone needed to know about the secret messages being exchanged with species who were tired of Council rule. Not yet. The week passed too quickly. On the morning of the battle, Park stood on the bridge of the Resolve and watched the Council fleet emerge from FTL at the edge of the new Busan system. 40 ships. They were beautiful, in a terrible way. Smooth and silver, built for war by a civilization that had perfected war over millennia. They moved in perfect formation, like a machine designed for one purpose: destruction. A message came through on all channels. Park recognized the cold voice of Counselor Vethal. Humans of New Busan, this is your final warning. Surrender unconditionally. Deliver your military commanders for trial. Accept Council authority over your world. If you refuse, you will be destroyed. You have 1 hour. Park did not respond. He waited. In that hour, his ships moved into position. 15 vessels total. 5 destroyers, 6 frigates, 4 converted cargo ships loaded with missiles. It was nothing against 40 Council warships, but it was what they had. All ships. Park said into the fleet channel, "Remember your training. Remember your tactics. Do not try to be heroes. Stay alive. Stay mobile. Hit them where they do not expect it. We are not here to win today. We are here to make them remember us." The hour ended. The Council fleet began to advance. All ships, engage. The battle began. Park had studied Council tactics carefully. They were good, but they were predictable. They relied on overwhelming force and disciplined formation. They expected enemies to either flee or charge at them in desperate attacks. The human ships did neither. They scattered. The destroyers swept around the flanks, firing quick bursts and then disappearing behind asteroids and moons. The frigates attacked in pairs, hitting one Council ship and then running before the others could respond. The converted cargo ships launched their missiles from extreme range, filling space with hundreds of targets that the Council point defense had to deal with. It was chaos, organized chaos. Captain Han and the Taebaek were at the center of the most dangerous part of the plan. Her mission was to reach the Council command ship and disable it. If she succeeded, the enemy fleet would lose coordination. If she failed, she would die. The Taebaek dove into the middle of the Council formation. Enemy fire lit up space around her. Her ship took hits but kept moving. Han pushed the engines past their limits, weaving between the massive silver warships like a bird between trees. "Shields at 40%, her first officer reported. "Enough," Han said. "Lock weapons on the command ship's engine section." Locked. "Fire everything." The Taebaek's weapons emptied into the command ship. Missiles, cannons, everything they had. The explosions tore through the silver hull. Systems failed. The command ship's engines went dark. "Direct hit. They're drifting. Get us out of here," Han ordered. The Taebaek turned and ran. 3 Council ships chased her, but she was faster. She slipped behind a moon and vanished. On the Resolve, Park watched the command ship go dark. The rest of the Council fleet hesitated. Their perfect formation broke as individual captains tried to figure out what to do without orders from above. "All ships, press the attack," Park ordered. For 3 hours, the battle raged. The human fleet took losses. 2 frigates destroyed. 1 destroyer badly damaged. But the Council fleet took worse. 7 of their ships were crippled or destroyed. They had expected to crush the humans in minutes. Instead, they were bleeding. Finally, the Council fleet pulled back. Park allowed himself a small breath. They had survived the first day. Lieutenant Shin's voice came through the command channel from Earth. "Admiral, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. News of the battle is spreading. 3 species have issued public statements refusing to support the Council's action against humanity. 2 more are demanding explanations from their Council representatives." "The cracks are widening," Park said quietly. "Yes, sir. And there's more. Observer Rin has made contact again. He says the Keth are preparing to act. He says others will follow. Park closed his eyes for a moment. They had hoped for this. They had planned for this. But hope and plans were different from reality. Tell him we are grateful. Tell him to be careful. The council will not be kind to traitors. Yes, sir. The second day came. The council fleet attacked again. This time with adjusted tactics. They had learned from their mistakes. They spread out to counter the human guerrilla attacks. They moved more carefully, more cautiously. But they were also slower, more hesitant. The humans had planted a seed of doubt in their minds. These small pink creatures were not behaving the way they were supposed to. It was unsettling. The battle continued for 2 more days. Both sides took losses. Both sides grew tired. But the humans held. New Busan did not fall. On the 5th day, the council fleet received a transmission from Apex Prime. Park's intelligence team intercepted it. You are ordered to withdraw. The council will reassess the human situation. Further action will be determined by the full council. The silver ships turned and left the system. They did not look back. Park stood on the bridge and watched them go. Around him, his crew began to cheer. He let them have the moment. They had earned it. Captain Han's face appeared on the screen. The Taybec was battered but alive. So was Han, though she had a cut on her forehead and her uniform was torn. Admiral, she said with a tired smile. I think we made them remember us. You did well, Captain, Park replied. He opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Admiral Park. The council fleet has withdrawn. New Busan is safe. He paused. I will not pretend this is over. The council will come back. They will come back with more ships, more weapons, more anger. But today, we proved something. We proved that humanity will not break. We proved that we can fight. And we proved that the council is not invincible. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, other species were watching. Other species were thinking about their own chains. We are still here, Park said. And we will still be here tomorrow. Resolve out. He ended the transmission. Around him, the crew returned to their stations, already preparing for whatever came next. Ambassador Yoon's voice came through on a private channel from Earth. Admiral, President Choi wants me to tell you that you've done the impossible. You've given us a chance. Ander, it was not impossible, Park replied. It was just very difficult. There is a difference. What do we do now? Park thought about it. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. The council would regroup. They would come back harder. Humanity needed to be ready, but they also needed to build on what they had won. The cracks in the council's power were showing. Other species were starting to believe that resistance was possible. That was a weapon more powerful than any ship. Now, Park said, we turn a battle into a movement. Now we build alliances. Now we show the galaxy what freedom looks like. He ended the call and looked out at the stars of New Busan. They were the same stars they had always been, but somehow, they looked brighter. The council had sent a message to humanity. Kneel or die. Humanity had sent a message back. We're still here. It was a good start. 6 months after the Battle of New Busan, the galaxy looked different. The council was still powerful. They still controlled most of known space. They still had more ships, more resources, more everything than humanity could ever hope to match. But something had changed. Something in the air, in the signals that passed between worlds, in the way species looked at each other when council representatives were not watching. Hope. That was what had changed. Hope had returned to the galaxy. On Earth, in Geneva, President Choi Eun-ji prepared for the most important meeting in human history. 7 species had sent delegations. 7 species had traveled across the stars to stand with humanity against the Council. They called themselves the Sovereign Compact. The delegations arrived over 3 days. The Keth came first. Observer Rin led them. No longer an observer, but an ambassador. His people had declared independence from the Council 2 months after New Busan. The Council had threatened them. They had not backed down. "We have been slaves for 3,000 years," Rin told President Choi when they met. "Your speech at Apex Prime reminded us what freedom sounded like. We will not forget that." "Clown. I might know." "Party." The others followed. The Vraks, a species of warriors who had been forced to fight in council wars for centuries. The Solani, scientists whose research had been stolen and controlled. The Torun, miners whose worlds had been stripped bare. 4 more species came after them, each with their own story of suffering under council rule. Admiral Park watched them arrive. He stood at the window of his office in Global Defense Command, looking up at the ships in orbit. Human ships flew alongside alien ships. 3 months ago, that would have been unthinkable. Lieutenant Shin entered with a report. He was no longer a lieutenant. President Choi had promoted him to commander and put him in charge of intelligence for the Sovereign Compact. He had earned it. "Admiral, we have the latest council fleet movements," Shin said. "They're pulling ships back from the outer territories, concentrating their forces closer to the core systems. They're scared," Park said. "They have ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Now they are starting to feel it themselves. There's something else." Shin hesitated. 2 of the council member species have declared neutrality. They say they will not participate in any action against the compact. Park turned from the window. "Which 2? The Morin and the Kasari." "Both junior members. They say they're tired of fighting wars for the first races. Amgan and Alaman." "See," Park allowed himself a small smile. "The cracks are becoming canyons." The assembly of the Sovereign Compact took place in the Global Assembly Hall. It was the same room where humanity had debated its answer to the Council's demands. Now it held representatives of 8 species, all of them committed to a single idea: no more kneeling. President Choi stood at the podium. She looked out at the delegates, human and alien alike. 6 months ago, I stood in this room and made a decision, she said. I decided that humanity would not pay tribute to the Galactic Council. I decided that we would not accept slavery with a polite name. Many people told me I was making a mistake. Many people told me I was leading our species to destruction. She paused. I understood their fear. I shared it. The Council has ruled for 10,000 years. They have crushed every species that stood against them. What chance did we have? Endophore. The Tom. Endophore. The Tom. Endophore. She gestured to the alien delegates around the room. Here is our chance. Here are the Keth, who broke their chains after 3,000 years. Here are the Vraks, who will never fight someone else's war again. Here are the Solani, the Torun, and all the others who looked at what we did and found the courage to do it themselves. Ambassador Yoon sat in the front row, watching. She had spent the last 6 months traveling from world to world, negotiating treaties, building relationships, turning a spark into a fire. She had aged in those months. She had also never looked more alive. We did not seek this fight, President Choi continued. We wanted only to find our place among the stars. But when we found that the only place offered to us was on our knees, we refused. And in refusing, we discovered something. We discovered that we were not alone. She looked directly at the delegates. The Galactic Council believes that the galaxy belongs to them, that they can take what they want and destroy anyone who objects. They have believed this for so long that they think it is the natural order of things. But there is no natural order. There is only what we accept and what we do not. General Kang Tae-hyuk stood near the military section. He had been against defying the Council from the beginning. He had thought it was suicide. He had been wrong, and he was man enough to admit it. Now he stood ready to fight alongside allies he would never have imagined. Today, we create something new, President Choi said. The Sovereign Compact. An alliance of species who will not kneel. We will trade with each other as equals. We will defend each other against any threat. We will build a future where freedom is not a gift from masters, but a right that belongs to everyone. She raised her hand. I ask each delegation to signal their agreement. One by one, the delegations responded. Rin for the Keth, the warrior chief for the Vrax, the lead scientist for the Solani. 7 alien species, each signaling their commitment to the compact. Then the human delegation signaled as well. It was done. The hall erupted in sound. Cheering from humans and aliens alike, a noise of hope and determination and relief. For the first time in 10,000 years, someone had said no to the council and lived. After the ceremony, Admiral Park met with the military commanders of the other species. They had work to do. The council would not accept this quietly. War was coming, and they needed to be ready. Captain Han Yuna was there, now promoted to Commodore after her actions at New Busan. She had been given command of a joint task force, human and alien ships working together. We need to integrate our tactics, Park told the group. Share what we know. The council will expect us to fight separately. We need to fight as one. The Vrax commander, a massive creature with 4 arms and armored skin, nodded. My people know war. We will teach you what we know, and we will learn from you. Your tactics at New Busan were impressive. Desperate, Han corrected with a slight smile. We were desperate. Desperation creates innovation, the Solani commander said. She was smaller, with delicate features, but her eyes were sharp. The council has not been desperate in millennia. They have forgotten how to adapt. That is their weakness. They talked for hours, sharing intelligence, comparing strategies, building the foundation of a military alliance that could challenge council power. It would not be easy. The council still had more of everything. But they had something the council did not have. A reason to fight beyond fear. That evening, Park stood on a balcony overlooking Geneva. The city was lit up, celebrating the birth of the compact. Fireworks burst over the lake. Crowds filled the streets. Ambassador Yoon joined him. She looked tired, but satisfied. Do you remember what you said to me on the Han-san? She asked. When we were going to Apex Prime for the first time? I said many things. You said that we have never been very good at kneeling. She smiled. You were right, Park nodded slowly. I also said, I did not know if the galaxy would change for better or worse. I still do not know, but it will change. Yes, it will change. He looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the council was planning its response. Somewhere out there, battles were waiting to be fought. But somewhere out there, species were also looking at each other differently, seeing possibilities they had never seen before. This is just the beginning, Park said. The council will come for us. They will come with everything they have. Many of us will die before this is over. I know, Yoon said, but we will not stop. Because if we stop, if we give up, then the council wins, and they will rule for another 10,000 years. We cannot allow that. Park thought about his wife and children. He thought about every human on Earth and the colonies. He thought about the Keth and the Vrax and all the others who had risked everything to stand with humanity. No, he agreed. We cannot. His communicator buzzed. A message from Commander Shin. The council had issued a public statement. They called the Sovereign Compact illegal. They called its members traitors and criminals. They promised that justice would come. Park read the message and put the communicator away. He had expected nothing less. Counselor Vethal once told me that the next time we met, it would be over the burning ruins of our worlds, he said. I think I will disappoint him. He turned and walked back inside. There was work to do, plans to make, a future to build. Behind him, the fireworks continued to light up the sky. 8 species, united against tyranny. It was the beginning of something new. The council had demanded tribute. Humanity had given them something else instead. They had given them defiance. They had given them a revolution. And the galaxy would never be the same.